everyone, Florette here with Ink on 3. Happy Stamptember! And I'm here today to show you our set as well as make a card. We're going to do something with lots of fun dimension. We're going to play with inks. And even if you don't have the set I'm going to show you, you can use this with any stamp set that you have. Here is the adorable card we're going to make, and you can see there's lots of layering, and I'll have a close-up picture so you can see this a little better, but it is really sweet. Could be great for birthdays, weddings, friendship, anything like that. So let's get started.
So here's the little chickadee stamp set we're going to use today. You can see it has lots of great layers. You can ink it all up and get lots of dimension. Another great thing is on the back, you can see there's layering directions, and there's also a really great little die set to go along with that. I'm using the Atelier ink line to ink it up using a blending brush. What I absolutely love about Atelier inks is you can get a variety of colors out of one color. And by using a blending brush, I'm going to get a lighter tone when I ink up these stamps. So as you can see, I'm just dabbing it on, and then I'm going to grab some little brushes and the orange, this is marigold orange, and I'm going to put in some orange in the middles. I'm going to dab it around the edges. It's going to give me a lot of dimension, and it's going to be really fun because we can just stamp it all down using these solid stamps, the layers. And this is the first layer of this section of the flowers. I'm going to go ahead and grab some goddess green and the little blending brush. I'll have links to all the supplies in the description. I'm using the goddess green and the little blending brush to dab on the green onto all of the leaves, and then I'm going to press this all down, and look at that. We've got all this shading by using the blending brushes. Now I'm going to add the little section onto the little chickadee. This stamp set is so great because I can stamp all of these layers down and color my stamps very easily. Of course, I'm using a MISTI so I can re-stamp if I notice there's any sections that need a little more pressure to get the ink to lay down. I'm grabbing the little branch and I'm going to ink that up with some Twiggy Brown. I'm going to take it right from the cube on this one and dab it onto the branch because I want that to be a little bit darker, and you can see here I press it down and there we go. It's a nice dark brown from the Twiggy Brown. For these little branches on the leaves, I'm just going to use a stamping block. I used the Cube's Twiggy Brown, and I'm just going to stamp those down. And look, now I've got lots of different ones I stamped out so that I can have a lot of flowers, because I thought it would look really pretty with multiple flowers. So now I'm using the die set, and I'm going to cut everything out. And I do this with all the flowers. As you can see, I have multiple flowers. And then I decide, wouldn't it be cool to have vellum flowers? So I used the die cuts to cut out a bunch of vellum because I wanted to have a few of the flowers with more dimension and diffuse the yellow a little bit. I thought that would give it a really pretty look, and I was really happy with that. And then here I'm showing you that there's a stamen on the stamp set, and a lot of people wonder, why is there an extra stamen? Well, this is one of the reasons. You can use it to now stamp on the top of the vellum. I used some blackout detail ink because it's a permanent ink on a slick surface, and it works beautifully for that. But I thought it would be really fun to give this a lot of dimension, so I also cut a little slits around the edges so those flowers can curl up and give us a three-dimensional flower. I love this glue gun. You can see I'm using the precision glue gun to adhere everything together. Now I'm going to use the other stamen from the other flower to do the same thing. The other thing the stamens on the stamp set are good for, and you'll notice it on a few of our stamp sets, is because we're really known for our no line coloring with fade out detail ink. And sometimes when you color with your detail ink, you want to re-stamp the stamen to get a darker stamen. So it's a really nice thing that we include in a lot of our stamp sets with the florals. I wanted to show you that the Atelier inks are really fantastic, and they do all the things. And here you can see I'm even using them with Copic markers. So they are alcohol marker friendly, so I'm using the Copic markers to add a little bit more dimension giving it some shadows here and there. You could, just use the layers or add a little extra pizzazz with some markers. And I thought that would give it a really pretty look. And you'll see at the end, when I do a close-up, you'll see how much that does add. And I'm just doing it on the bottoms, nothing fancy, super easy. And it makes Copic coloring a little bit easier as well when you use it with the Atelier inks. Adding little layers and shadows really does pop the pieces and gives you so much more dimension. And then I wanted to add a little bit more dimension to this card, so I'm using an embossing plate to take that white background that I'm going to use and run it through the embossing machine, and it's going to give us a nice texture on our background as well. This card is all about dimension and texture. Once I get all my pieces laid out, I'm going to grab a little press and seal because there's a lot of pieces, and I'm going to press that down over everything that I've arranged so that I can then just peel that off and not rearrange it again. And I just love this press and seal for this because you can see there's a lot of little pieces to glue on to our card now. So I'm going to take some foam tape and I'm just going to put it on all the pieces before I decide to take off my press and seal and adhere it to the card. It makes it so much easier when you have a lot of little pieces to put your glue on or your foam strips, and you can see how easily I peel it off, and now it becomes like one piece, but it has lots of dimension. Isn't that so cute and so pretty? We have all the dimensions in the inks and the shading, the markers, the blending brushes. It really makes for a fun card. I decide for our sentiment, I'm going to emboss it using some of our Atelier pitch black. I'm going to put that down, and then I'm going to grab that, and I wanted to have it give it a little shine. That's why we're going to emboss it. I'm going to use some Black as Night embossing powder. This is great embossing powder because it has no fillers. It dries really quickly and gives it real detail. It works really great with all your detailed images. So I'm going to hit it with that heat gun, and it dries really fast, and you can see it's nice and shiny. So I'm going to take some time and peel off all the backs of this foam tape, and then I'm going to arrange it on the card. I am going to do it very gently, so if I want to move it, it's not really stuck down yet, but once I get it lined up, I'm going to press it all down into place. I'm going to peel off the foam tape backing for my sentiment. I wanted to raise that as well, and I'm going to tuck that right under the flower, and it just gives such a really nice clean look. And I'm going to press that down. Look at that, that's really coming together. Then I take a look at my card, and I love how it looks, but I decide I want to add some embellishments. So I take my pick tool and I put on some Trinity Stamps embellishments. They're just really pretty baubles, and I thought it gives a nice look. And of course we can't have a card without a little liquid pixie dust. If you're not familiar with liquid pixie dust, it's an iridescent shimmer that is absolutely amazing. It stays on the card, it doesn't flake off, and it's not an actual glitter, so you can take it on crops, and I just love it. So I do decide to also add a little more dimension with a gel pen. I'm just taking my gel pen and adding some little white like lines and little strips and little dots, and it just gives it that little extra glow. I decided to add some foam tape to the back of the card as well and lift that. So you can see we have a lot of dimension. I went the extra mile on this one and stamped some of the flowers on my envelope, and I decided to take some liquid pixie dust and add some shimmer to each of the flowers. It really gives it a beautiful shimmer. It's a little hard to tell on camera, but believe me, in person, it's even shinier.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button for more fun and creativity. Leave a comment. Let me know what else you'd like to see or different techniques that you'd like me to try and show you. See you next time.